Hello and welcome to the Daily Stoic
Hello.
Conversations. It is May 19th and today we are going to discuss learn, practice, train.
Learn, practice, train. Okay. What's the difference between train and practice?
That's my question too, is like, I get that learn is different than practice, but I don't get how practice is different than train.
Oh, maybe practice is like actually use it in the real world, and you train it out like in your own. Let's say you train something here of how to, let's say, communicate, but then you go practice it out there to actually use it, maybe.
And I like that. And then I would expect you
but
to
it
say
goes
learn, train, practice.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
We'll see if they even talk about what the difference is.
Let's do it, yeah.
Okay. Epictetus says, "That's why the philosophers warn us not to be satisfied with mere learning, but to add practice and then training. For as time passes, we forget what we learned and end up doing the opposite, and hold opinions the opposite of what we should." So maybe practice is putting the initial thing, like the initial learning, into motion, and then training is like targeting the practice in a more specific way.
Yeah. In that realm somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think that that's that important.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that there's that much distinction because he's really just saying, learn it and then also practice it, because I can see how we learn something and then we start kind of talking about it as if we are doing it already. So it sounds like, so essentially we become like these preachers for a second there, and we could get stuck in the preaching and never doing, right? So to me, the preaching is maybe like almost like a necessary evil in order for you to then, it's like you know what I mean? Like you learn, then you then you talk to yourself, then you start talking to your friends about it. Mm-hmm. But you're still not doing it. You know what I mean? So, and then maybe what this is like, don't stop there.
Yeah, you have to put it into practice.
Actually go do those things, and maybe then you actually will stop talking about it. And you will only be doing it. And then that's probably where you want to be, because this talking about it is potentially not really... If you already know the stuff that you're talking about, then who are you benefiting?
Right, especially if nobody's asking a question.
And
if somebody's asking a question like, hey, I noticed that you're moving around in the world in a very functional way, and I want to be functional like that. Tell me more about how you came to be that way. No. That's different than just holding the high and mighty self-righteous point of view of I'm right and other people are wrong. And I'm right not because I'm living in a certain way, but I'm right because I am thinking certain thoughts that are making me feel better than everyone else who doesn't know the secrets of my philosophy.
But if I check the actual reality, I'm freaking not doing nothing. I'm not doing...
Right.
That was a double negative. I mean, that's how bad it is. So I'm not really, right? Like I'm essentially not doing it. It's just being talked about. So... But if you say, oh, this righteous person and now maybe there's missing the understanding that the righteous thing is kind of like a next step in that process.
Yes.
Just don't stop there, right? That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Righteousness is okay because you're like kind of excited that you learned something, and then maybe that's not righteousness. This is maybe where the excitement of learning something and you want to share it with the surrounding, right? Because that's our nature to share things. Now you want to share it. The way you start sharing it is saying, I know something and let me share it. That might be this innocent, nice way, but then now you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And you're doing it to everybody. Now you're like, dude, now you're in the righteous kind of righteous, and then you're not doing it.
And then you're probably...
Maybe that's what righteous could
self-righteousness.
Self-righteousness could be like...
That's more like hypocrisy, I would say. But yeah, and then when you get into that spiral, now your relationships start falling apart because the people around you don't want to be lectured. And while they're getting the lecture, they're like, well, you're not doing the thing that you're saying.
Yeah, you're telling me to recycle, but I don't see you recycling, right? It's like, show me how it's done the easy way. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's better to... and I will also, the data that is received verbally is much less potent than the one that the data that's received maybe visually or by watching somebody doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're doing it and you're like, oh my God, they're actually doing it. Oh, that is the key. It's not this... it's not.
Yeah, because the trick is not learning the philosophical principles. Like the trick is not like, oh, I know the difference between good and evil, let's say, in like the Stoic way of thinking about things. And now that's the powerful thing. The powerful thing is how I put that understanding into action in real situations, in real life. And so, yeah, of course, then it becomes more potent for somebody else to see the example of what does it look like actually applied versus what is this theory that its helpfulness is really only at the learning level. Like, okay, thanks for the concept, but now what?
Yeah, there's also another saying like that's similar to this. Like, there's something about like, don't teach, show, or something like that. Or there's some it's like hinting on this same similar thing. But that is so short that it's like, oh yeah, okay, well yeah, I get it. Well, lead by example, Hey, lead by example.
Walk the talk.
Right, walk the talk. And you go, okay. But you don't actually, that doesn't translate into walking the walk, right? It's like it has to be like more, I don't know, like I have to spend more time with it in order for it to like really settle in and really turn into action or something. What is it, Mr. Ryan got to say? Do you have anything else?
No, I think we're good. Bear with me, this is 2 paragraphs. Ryan says, very few people can simply watch an instructional video or hear something explained and then know backward and forward how to do it. Most of us actually have to do something several times in order to truly learn. One of the hallmarks of the martial arts, military training, and athletic training of almost any kind is the hours upon hours upon hours of monotonous practice. An athlete at the highest level will train for years to perform movements that can last mere seconds or less. The 2-minute drill, how to escape from a chokehold, the perfect jumper. Simply knowing isn't enough. It must be absorbed into the muscles and the body. It must become part of us, or we risk losing it the second that we experience stress or difficulty. It is true with philosophical principles as well. You can't just hear something once and expect to rely on it when the world is crashing down around us. Remember, Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing his meditations for other people. He was actively meditating for himself. Even as a successful, wise, and experienced man, he was, until the last days of his life, practicing and training himself to do the right thing. Like a black belt, he was still showing up to the dojo every day to roll. Like a professional athlete, he still showed up to practice each week, even though others probably thought it was unnecessary. Ryan's commentary reminds me of a different saying of, you don't rise to the level of your ambition, you fall to the level of your training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being ready, like if you're not training, you're not ready for the things that are...
And I might be very ambitious, like, I learned this new principle, I learned this new idea, But unless I'm practicing it and training it, I'm not going to be ready for that random life thing that just I'm not anticipating, and it happens and it's here, and now I'm in no position to handle it in a good way.
Yeah. It's like I can't start meditating when my world is blowing up.
Yeah.
That's not the time to begin. You better be well in it by then, it's kind of a thing. Yeah. Excellent.
Nice.
Thinking.
This one will be a good one to think about today as the work rumbles. All right, see you here tomorrow. Thanks for coming.